Hi, it's Mable, your princess of poetry and praise. I have a quiz for you. I have a test for you. I have a chance for you to remember, to think back, and see if you still have any of these things at your house today. This is old school. This is the way we were. This is back in the day. How many of you still have a Bible in your house? Do you have a Bible? Didn't you used to have a Bible in your house all the time when you were staying with mama them, daddy them, grandparents them? Yes, yes, yes. The Bible. Yes, that's the book for me. And along with the Bible, what else did we all have? A dictionary. We had a dictionary and we had encyclopedias. And one of my friends told me when she told her grandmother, trying to be smart to her grandmother, told her grandmother she was just bored. She didn't have anything to do. And her grandmother told her, look, we have saved money and invested in those encyclopedia. You get over there and read those encyclopedia and read those dictionaries and read those books that we have here for you to learn. And you know what? We did that too. Many of us had to read through those encyclopedias, read through the dictionary to try to expand our knowledge and expand our vocabularies. And we had no one to tell us how to spell a word. If we needed to know how to spell a word, we had to know how to go to the dictionary and find that word and spell the word correctly. How many men out there do you remember a toy choo-choo train or a toy truck? How many of you guys out there had a toy choo-choo train or a toy truck? Or ladies, I bet you like me had, remember those little dolls? We were so excited to get where we would put the little bottle in her mouth and think and imagine that we were giving her formula or milk, or really it was just water. And a few minutes later, we'd have to change that baby doll's clothes and diapers because all that water, oh my goodness, it came out. Yes, it did. And then we had rag dolls. The rag dolls were more flexible. We could kind of throw them around and, throw them up in the air and try to catch them. And then we would braid their hair and twist their hair and stuff. How many of you all remember the books that we had in kindergarten? Well, in kindergarten, we didn't have public kindergarten when I was a little girl. No. We were in segregated schools, but we had no kindergarten. And our parents had to pay for us to go to private kindergartens. And then in the first grade, we went to free public segregated schools. And in those schools, what did we read? Who did we read about? Who were the main characters? Dick and Jane and Spot and Puff. Run, Dick, run. Run, Jane, run. Run, Spot, run. And what would Puff be doing? Sitting on the sideline, lapping and drinking that milk in the little bowl. That's what Puff did, the kitten. And we also had skates. Some of us had skates, and the skates had a little key to it that you could fix the wheels and skate up and down the streets and the sidewalks, really, because you couldn't get out in the street. Not back in the day. When I was growing up, no. You did not get out in the street, and you came home before the lights came on, or you would get a spanking, a switching, a whooping, and you had to choose your own switch, and you couldn't come in the house with no little flimsy switch. You had to bring in a real switch. How many of you got to stay up to watch the Untouchables that came on at nighttime? Or Gunsmoke with Marshall Dillon. Can you see him now? Getting ready to have a duel with some bad guy who wasn't acting right in town. And I know you remember this family. Dun 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 dun. Bonanza, the Cartwrights. And what about this one? The Lone Ranger and Tonto and Silver. And the music we eventually found out that they used with the Lone Ranger was a William Tell overture. Dun 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 dun. Y'all remember that? And of course, I know you remember this one. Wonder Woman. I was so glad to see a superhero that was a woman. Wonder Woman. That was so cool. That was just so, so cool. And on Saturday mornings, early, we would get up before anybody else to go downstairs and eat Frosted Flakes and eat Cheerios and watch a whole morning of cartoons, starting with Superman. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Oh, wow. Didn't you just love Superman? And also, you would walk home because we didn't have school buses. We had to walk everywhere. When I say everywhere, we walked to church. We walked uptown. We walked downtown. We walked to school. There were no snow days. We did everything with our number 2 walkers. We never had to worry about dieting because we walked everywhere. But we would walk home real, real fast so we would be sure to be able to catch MICKEYMOUSE, Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck. And then we'd also love to see the Flintstones. Yes. Oh, they were wonderful. The Flintstones. Yabba dabba doo. And here's one I know you'll remember. You'll remember his song, Mighty Mouse. How many of you all remember him? Mighty Mouse. Here I come to save the day. That means that Mighty Mouse is on the way. On the sea and on the land, he's got the situation well in hand. Y'all remember Mighty Mouse? And how many people remember when you used to take your lunch to school in those little greasy bags? You know, the little bags would kind of sag because of something greasy in the bag, maybe bologna or sausage or leftover bacon or piece of a pork chop, a piece of a chicken. I was so glad when we got those cute little lunch boxes because no matter what you had, you didn't have to worry about seeing that little greasy stuff on that little brown paper bag. Those lunch boxes, and we would have boiled eggs and bologna sandwiches, peanut butter and jelly, some chips. We would have an apple, some graham crackers. We didn't have a lot of sweets, but it was healthy food. It really was. And then sometimes, not often, but sometimes when we go like near Beale Street or on Beale Street or near one of those cafes, if we went in with our parents and they went to get barbecue sandwiches or some type of hamburgers or hot dogs, we'd go into one of the juke joints and they would have a jukebox. And if you had any money, you could put your money in that jukebox and play the song that you always heard on TV. But most of the time, you couldn't do that unless you were with somebody else. Because if you were with your parents, they wouldn't let you play the jukebox. And then here's something that I'll never forget. Living in the government housing projects. Oh, wow. You talking about something special. Oh, my. That was so special because it was a village. There was a real village. There was a real family affair. We were real family members, and everybody's mama, everybody's parent, everybody's grandparent, everybody's guardian, they were all watching you, taking care of you. They could spank you. They could switch you. They would tell you to go get a switch and you'd have to obey them. Yes, you did. You had to obey. And before you could get home, your parents already knew what was going on because they just had a real, don't you know, I heard it through the grapevine. They told everything. How many of you all rode in a pickup truck? We had a pickup truck and we could lay down in the pickup truck. We could stand up in the pickup truck. We could roll over in the pickup truck until seatbelts became a must. And then we'd have to sit in the cab and squeeze up real tight and put on those seat belts. And one time I had a Camaro. Oh, I loved that Camaro, but it was going too fast, so I had to get me another car. My mama had an Impala, and she didn't drive fast at all. She took her time. She was always below the speed limit, but at least she got us where we needed to go. And some of my friends, wow, if they had a Mustang, we would say, woo, y'all have made it. Some parents were able to buy their children a Mustang. Can you believe it? Back in the day. But the real top of the line was the classic Cadillac. Woo. Those Cadillacs. If you drove a Cadillac, you were really somebody who had deep pockets. Cadillacs, and then in parades, you see those shiny, beautiful, just sparkling Cadillacs just kind of gliding down the street, just like the floats and everything in the Cotton Carnival parade. And wow, everybody would just stand back and say, they got it. They got it going on. Diamond in the back, sun rooftop, digging the scene in the gangster lean. Ooh. Oh, yes. But here's one I know. Do you remember when you had to sit in church with your grandparents? And if I sat with my grandmother sitting up there with the mother's board, you better believe I sat still. Because they would spank you too. Well, they didn't even have to spank you. They could just give you that look. Y'all know that look that the older people had, and they just look at you. Somebody's grandmama would just look at you. They didn't even have to point their finger. They looked at you, and you would all of a sudden just freeze because you knew they were going to get you after church. But you know, during church, you better sit yourself down. And the other thing that would scare me was my grandmama's mink stole. I didn't know what those critters were around her neck on top of her suits. It was foxes and minks, but they had eyes that wouldn't stop staring at you. And they had little noses. And this was the part that was scary. The teeth. They had sharp little teeth. And I just knew they could just bite you. So when I would sit next to Mama Fanny in church, hey, I would sit still. I would act right. And all the beautiful ladies at church, everybody had a beautiful pocketbook, matching gloves, and pearls. Gorgeous, glowing white pearls. And how many of you remember the party line? Wow, when we finally were able to even pay for a party line, I mean, that meant we were doing something. Getting a black and white TV was big. But when we finally got a party line, and then we have to wait on some of the talking folks to get off the line so we could get on the line and try to call and talk to our friends or talk to our family members. A one dingy, a two dingy. And how many of you all remember playing hopscotch? And we played it only on the sidewalk. We never played out in the street. You didn't play out in the street. You didn't stay up or out of the house. When it was time for the lights to come on, you got in the house, locked that screen door. You want to make sure your mom and them knew you were in the house before the street lights came on. I don't care how much you were winning with hopscotch. You left that little crayon out there and you came in the house. Here's one I bet you remember. Oh my goodness. Here's one I know you remember. Those of you who were in college during the time when I was in college, and we had special hours and curfews, and we had to be in. You could get kicked out of school if you didn't act right and come in when you were supposed to come in. But the other thing was we had community bathrooms where everybody had to share, and we had community dorm payphones. So you just couldn't go to the phone and call your family and friends whenever you wanted to. You'd have to get in line, and eventually you'd be able to get to the phone and put your little coin in order to call and tell your mommy and your folks hello. We all had library cards to do our work, to do our research, to do our projects. And it was fun going to the library because the library was one place where there was air conditioning. Nobody had air conditioning. We had fans and we had hand fans. Pull those fans out. Where those fans, hey, those fans were for real back in the day. Screen doors, we would heist up the windows and open up the doors and let the air come right on in. It would be hot in Memphis, let me tell you. But those fans, whew, they kept us cool. But going to the library, we were able to really understand what AC and air conditioning was all about. Plus, we could read library books and learn about the world and what was really going on. Here's one I know you remember. How many of y'all remember putting the green stamps in your parents' little books? And you put the green stamps in the books after you went to the grocery store, because when you paid for your groceries, they'd give you stamps that went along with the amount of groceries that you'd buy. And I couldn't wait to get home to sit down as my folks were putting up the groceries. I would be filling out that book. So later on the next week, we would walk over on Union Street in Memphis to the green stamp place, and we would turn in our green stamp books and get things that we needed, the household items that we could not afford. We couldn't afford to buy a lot of household items. So we were able to get all kinds of beautiful things, especially for our kitchen with those green stamps, and for the living room. Things were really hard, but those green stamps came in hand. I hope that you were able to answer some of the things that I mentioned, some of the things I asked you about. This is Mable, your princess of poetry and praise, and I'll be right back with some other things to take you back, to let you remember, to let you say, wow, the way we were, old school. That's the way we were. We'll be right back with more. It's in store, coming right back. Hello, we're back. It's Mable, your princess of poetry and praise. Hey, what did you think about the quiz? Hey, what did you think about the test? Hey, what did you think about the things I just shared with you? How many of you still have a Bible in your house? I know most of you are. I know folks who watch Mable, your princess of poetry and praise. Those of you who check out conversations with Mable every week. I know all of y'all still have a Bible. You have a Bible. Oh, yes, I know you do. Some of those other things you may not no longer have in your house. But what did you think about the test? What did you think about the quiz? We had a good time back in the day. Old school was okay. But you know what? It's one thing that I really wish we would be a little more attentive of. I wish we could focus a little bit more on kindness, compassion, caring, sharing. Kindness, compassion, caring, sharing. I would like to hear the magic words, please and thank you more. You just don't grab something. You just don't take something. You just don't pass by and pick up something. You always say, may I, please, thank you, gracias, I appreciate it, thank you. Those magic words. I also miss yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir. And it's really nice when gentlemen help you to your car, when gentlemen show that they are real gentlemen and treat you like a lady, when ladies respect and treat gentlemen like real men, and when real men respect ladies and treat them like real ladies. We are kings and queens. We are kings and queens, and that's the way we should interact. That's the way we should dialogue. That's the way we should communicate. This all makes me remember how sometimes when young people would come to our house, and I would always say, when it's time for us to go in the dining room to eat dinner, and when we sit around the dining room table, We are going to sit around the dining room table and eat and fellowship and talk and communicate and dialogue. We will go back in the den and watch the movie or watch the game. But right now, I want to know what you're doing. I want to share with you what's going on. I want us to laugh and talk together. I want to hear vibes from you and feel what you're going through now and see how we can help each other. I don't want to sit down, pass you the plate, get you some chicken or some greens or potato salad, and then, or a piece of pizza or a drink. And then the next thing I know, you sitting up there and your little thumbs just a moving, just a clicking. It's almost like being ill-mannered when your mind is working on a game, when you're doing something on email, when you're sending a text, when you're doing something on TikTok, trying to learn how to do a new little move, a new little dance, something else, to do. When we want to see you, we want to hear from you, all of you. We want you to be part of our family when you come to our house. So when are we going to learn to put those phones down and communicate again and talk again and interact again? That's old school. That's the way we were. That's back in the day. But I think it's something that we can all do together to strengthen our social skills, to strengthen our ability to communicate and to talk to each other and to understand each other and to respect each other and to love each other. You don't know how many times I heard from elected officials and people that I worked with and people, especially county commissioners, would come to my office and tell me about some of the new companies that were moving into the county where I once worked. And they said that there was a good workforce, but one of the things that they were really looking for was more young people who were tech savvy, but who also had stronger social skills. We have got to learn how to just be humans again. We are not just a community when we're not communing with each other, when we're not communicating with each other, when we're not touching each other and hugging each other and understanding each other and listening to each other and talking to each other and providing feedback with each other. We have got to commune and communicate again. So that's why I think it was cool looking back at things that we used to do. But some of those used to do things, those common courtesies, the etiquette, the things that grandmama taught us, big mama, mama, dad, papa, pops, mama, them, those things are so important. And you will need them on your jobs. You will need them working in your churches. You will need them in your relationships. You will need them with your families. You will need them when you're playing ball, when you're out enjoying a sport. That's what's wrong. You go to a game and something happens, and before you know it, the players are fighting. The referees are upset. Somebody's jumping on the referees. The people up who are supposed to be watching the games, the mamas and the daddies, have jumped out on the field. That's just crazy. Teammanship, sportsmanship is taught best when we're playing basketball and volleyball and tennis and baseball and soccer. But ladies and gentlemen, we are not going to a professional wrestling match where we end up fighting because we can't go along with whatever the referee has said. And I'm going to end today's episode of Conversations with Mable with a little story that happened when we went on a mission trip to South Africa. Some young people had been at someone's house and we were on a van, the adults, And we had to go by the house to pick up the young people so we could all go back together to the destination where we were going to be and then go to church that night. We went to the house to pick up the young people, and I guess we were so busy thinking about we got to pick them up and then go and get ready to go to church for tonight. We stayed in the van, and one of our leaders came out to the van and said, can you all come in for just a second and greet the people who have been entertaining the young people? We hadn't even thought about that. We went in the house, greeted everybody, let them know who we were, found out who they were. They escorted us to this living room, and there was this long table full of vegetables, meats, breads, pastries, desserts, drinks. And I think all of us were like, oh my God. It was like a bucket of cold water had been thrown over our face because we were so busy staying in that van, we didn't take enough time to say, we need to get out and go say hello. Just go say hello. We went to that table and started fixing our plates and sitting down and ate and conversed and had a great time and thanked them. And as we were leaving, all I could do was just feel a little bit of embarrassment. I may have turned a little pink because I knew we had not done the way we had been taught. Because anytime a young man or some people came to my house to pick me up so we could go to the movies or to the fair or to an event or an activity or a dance or something, they could not sit in the car and blow the horn and wait on me to come out. Oh, no. That was a big no. You had to cut off your car, get out of your car, come in the house, ring the doorbell, talk to my folks, introduce yourself, talk, and let them know what we were going to do, how you were doing in class, what you were doing in school, have some kind of social conversation. And I thought, wow, we forgot that. And our sisters and brothers in Africa, in South Africa, are teaching us what we had learned as children, but what we have, lest we forgot. Yes, we forgot. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is Mable, your princess of poetry and praise, as we try to do all we can to help raise money to provide dollars for scholars for students who are matriculating and getting their pieces of paper, their degrees, their certifications, their pieces of paper that say, I am licensed to do this particular job. I can do this skill. Let's also think about social skills and put those phones down and pull that stuff out our ear. And when somebody invites you to dinner or when somebody wants you to come to their house, they want to commune with you. They want to talk with you. They want to communicate with you. They want you to be part of their family and part of their life during that particular time. Let's stay together by being closer together. Commune, communicate, commit. Let's be family again. Love you out there. Mable, your princess of poetry and praise. God bless you.